I'm Karen Hunter, and this hour we're going to be welcoming in Dick Gregory. I cannot wait. If we can get him, we're going to get him. Oh, man. I always like to bring on guests that have a perspective that, is off the beaten track. And to talk to somebody that I know sees things a lot differently as an officer who happens to be a white man from Staten Island, which generally Staten Island is very homogenous, extremely homogenous, But this guy was raised right. And I think at the end of the day, humanity doesn't have a color, right? If you are a person who understands what it means to be a human being, you're going to treat people with respect, period, plain and simple, end of story. So that said, I just want to thank him for being here. And I'm so serious about Bill de Blasio because, there's a lot of, attention paid to the police commissioner here in New York City. And probably rightfully so, because a fish rots from the head. If your police force feels like they can chokehold people and shoot people 40, 50, 30 times or whatever and not pay for it, and you don't say anything, that's you. You're condoning it. Silence is acquiescence. And I haven't heard Bratton come out and categorically vilify this officer that killed Eric Garner. If anything, this blue wall of silence, to me, works to their detriment. Because all you're doing is creating animosity in the community. And as Glenn said, doesn't take much. Cop, you're roughhousing a guy and he falls on somebody's car and the man comes down, he's mad, you're on my car. And he says, okay, I'm sorry. How hard is that? Here's $20, go get your car washed. How hard is that? Humanity. That's what's missing. 866-801-8255. Serena Williams won today. Ronald, you didn't have that in your news stories.
I did not. I didn't know I was doing sports.
Oh, that's part of news.
All right.
Weather, sports, news,
yeah.
All of that. Yeah, she kept up with her big sister who won yesterday. Actually, Serena beat, who did she beat? She beat someone. It was 6-1, 6 love. I remember writing it down somewhere, but I don't know where it is now. Here. Nope, it's not there. You, Ron, blasted Ron. Anyway, so Serena won, and then there's Ebola. Did you see this? The numbers on Ebola? See? Now here. Read that.
It could strike 20,000 people in Africa. That's a huge number.
They said it was a lot lower than that, and they think it might even be higher than the 20,000, and that's huge. It's not going away. Stay put, people. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Daryl in Texas, welcome to the Karen Hunter Show.
Oh, thank you, Karen. I love your show.
No, thank you.
Thank you for taking my call. My problem with the police officers I'm tired of hearing about the good ones. I know we got good ones, but just like in our neighborhood, we know who the drug dealers are. The cops in that blue law thing that they got with each other, they know who the bad cops are.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not telling them to turn on each other.
Well, the reason why I brought Glenn on is because he didn't allow folks in his unit to behave that way. And he set a tone. Yeah. And all I'm saying is that every police captain, sergeant, person in charge, commissioner can set a tone if you don't want these things to happen in your town. It's all well and good to be tough. I get that. It's a hard job. Your life is in jeopardy.
I got that. But you know the bad ones in there. Weed them out. Get rid of them. Somebody turn them in or something before something going right.
I agree. Well, thank you, Daryl, so much for calling. I appreciate you. And I'm gonna, pause on the calls because coming in, I can't even. Can I get my thing back, please? No, I know. I want to welcome in Dick Gregory. A number of years ago, I actually read a book, and I'm going to use a word that Ron doesn't want me to use because he says it's going to hurt us with advertisers. But it's the name of his book. I can't make this up. His book's title is Nigger, and I read it actually on an Amtrak train. Did you read the book, Ron?
I did in college.
Okay,
yes.
And I think it should be, everyone should read this book. And it was funny when I was working at MSNBC. It was a Turkish woman who did makeup, and we just happened to be, how I talk to people. And she said before she and her family moved here from Turkey, her father made everybody read Dick Gregory's book. It was in Farsi, I think. It was like, what? That's how impactful this man's life story is. But you look at him, and the reason why I wanted him on here, not just because of Ferguson, and he was born in St. Louis, so he has intimate knowledge of what's going on there. But this is a man who has devoted his life to this thing called justice, but also understanding the community and how we need to empower ourselves. You know, when I look at what he did with the Bahamian diet, Armstrong Williams on this show, when I put him in a hot seat, said he made his first $1 million selling Dick Gregory products. Wow. So how many millionaires did this man make? It's not just about how he made us laugh. It was how he made us think, you know, and when I look at his journey, I think there's a blueprint there for success. The most powerful words ever spoken to me were spoken to me by Dick Gregory. When I had an opportunity to interview him a few years ago, and I said to him something about, you know, I'm really tired. And he said, you know that word I am? And I did that on this show. I got that from him. I am is the name of God. So when you say I am, that came from him. So I'm probably overwhelmed. Like callers call up and they say they're nervous. I'm nervous. But I want to welcome in Mr. Dick Gregory.
God bless you and thank you.
Oh.
I'm enjoying listening to you talk about me. But let me say two things. First, if you haven't seen the movie Lucy, run see it. And I tell all my children, every day you miss seeing that movie, you do a disservice to every cell in your body.
Mm.
It is brilliant, and most folks don't understand it. And so I usually take groups. I've seen it 8 times now.
Is this the movie starring Johansson where she's using 100% of her brain or something like that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I actually did see it. A lot of people criticized it because they said, you know, it's a white savior or whatever. But I took something different from it.
Let me tell you something. Truth don't have to be validated by ignorance.
Okay.
They're talking about your brain. If somebody cut your head open, cut a white woman's head open, you think the brain would be a different color?
Mm-mm.
Not at all. The brain's different color compared to how many cigarettes you smoke, how much whiskey you drink. It affects it, but that is the same. That's why nobody debates the sun or the moon, except there's few people that know. You ask somebody what color is the sun, they'll say red, and it's not. When you look up into the sun, it's black. It's that purple. What the red we see is the energy is so far away from the sun, it's lost 50% of its power. And so when you look at this movie, I went there and I said, well, this is about a black woman. Matter of fact, Newsweek had her on the cover, 1985, and said, we all come from this woman.
Lucy, that's right.
Lucy. And I don't know what her name is, if she had a name, because the reason they named it Lucy, the scientist that was digging and found those bones, they was listening to the Beatles song, Lucy.
In the Sky with Diamonds. Mm.
Yeah. And so, but we all born, so we use 2% of our brain now. We all born, and when we're in the mother's womb, we are using 100%. We the ones that makes the skin and the bones and the hair and follow the pattern, like someone build a house, they have a blueprint. That's us. When we come out of the moon, the violations that go on, from air pollution to loud noises and screaming and howling and all of that, then it goes down to 2%. When there's an incident, you might go up to 100%. That's a mother see a baby, and she's walking next to her, and she's jacking up her car to change her tire, and the phone rings, and she runs back to answer the phone. And when she gets back there, the child and hit the car, and fell over on her, and mother picks that car up and snatched the baby out. That's when you get 100%. And when you're at 100%, that is God. We are all born with God. And then we chump it down, but just go see it and see it more than once.
Yeah, I have.
And then you know who we are, and then you know the violations that we as black folks have brought on ourselves, not because slavery. There's a universal God that says to you, I, your God, who made you. You didn't come from your mother, and you came through her. I, your God, who made you. And if you think I'm going to sit here and watch you reduce the dignities I gave you, below the dignity so you can satisfy an evil system, before I let that happen, I will I will destroy you myself. That's what we are.
So is that what's happening as you look at what's going on around the country? And I wanted to hear personally your perspective on Ferguson.
Well, first you have to look at the fact that it's not racism. I've always said if I take over America today, I'd make most black folks apologize to all white folks. Because the white folks we mad at couldn't help us if they liked us. They don't come white. White ain't a color, white's an attitude. And if you don't have trillions of dollars in the bank, you can't have the attitude. And so consequently, when you sit and look at the Ku Klux Klan, the White Citizen Council in the 60s, do you think they determined public policy? It's them evil white folks up top who white folk better not come close to. They look like they're going to date their daughter. They don't read the right. You end up dead. That's what this system is about. Let me ask you a question. You have any children?
No.
Well, let's say you had 5 children, okay? Okay?
All right.
At what point would you let the government start training your babies for war? At what point?
Never.
Okay? That's what sports is about. They know you wouldn't let them, so they do it behind sports. That's why super white folks, their children don't play no sports. You serious? That's a violation of the universe.
And you're talking primarily about football.
Football, basketball, all of it. Even running is a violation of God. You were not meant to run.
Oh, I'm good with that.
Okay.
I'm totally good with that.
And
So
this body you have, it could transfer into money. There wouldn't be a bank large enough to hold the money just from this one body. So why would we violate it? And that's the games they play. You was going to say something. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to, get on this money thing because, I think a great big, thing that we're missing here is an opportunity to build our communities and build our business bases.
Well, first, let me say this. You don't live in the community, dear lady.
No.
Communities where you control your cops, you control your education,
Right.
you don't control none of that.
Can we?
Huh?
But couldn't we?
Could the Jews control it in Nazi Germany just because they wanted to? Huh?
No.
Okay,
no, and Ron is agreeing with that.
What make you think you're going to control it in this evil system? That's a game we play.
So what do we do?
Huh? Wait.
Okay.
Wait. Let's ease into that question, baby.
Okay. All right.
When the United States got ready to go to outer space, they didn't call into a radio station, huh? All right?
Okay.
They went and brought in the best minds money could buy, and then they trained them. And then it happened. See, we take the easy way out. Okay? If I'm your son and I got a brain tumor, you don't qualify to cut my head open. And so when we ask that, that's a way out where we can get around all of the filth that we have to go through and can't do nothing about it. The one great thing about the president, we should no longer teach our children no more about education, be nice, stay out of trouble. Do you know, I've never heard a white man ask a white man, are you staying out of trouble? But you black can have 15 PhD and they're saying you're staying out of trouble. What do you think that means? Okay? We have been taught. You see, the Supreme Court messed up the voting rights bill. Okay? Ain't nobody marched on it. If there was them redneck, ignorant Ku Klux Klanners, we'd be still more. We scared of power. We'll mess with the Klansmen who can't, most of them can't read, can't write, don't live in no big mansions, huh? Ain't got no Rolls Royces. We'll mess with them, but we're not going to mess with power. Power. And so right now, if you look at the blueprint of what we've been telling black folks, what we have to do to be on the good side of white folks, President Obama got it all. They couldn't treat him no worse if he was a gambling, hustler, drug addict, murderer on death row waiting to be executed. And we don't see that? Huh? We don't see that? We pick up what they tell, 50% of all black boys in high school are dropouts. The first question I asked them, we all going to start laying off teachers. If I'm selling 10,000 sandwiches a day and now I'm down to 5,000, somebody getting laid off. Then when you look at the real research, it's 11%. 11%. They said, well, if I got 10 children, I left my wife and family, even black folks will say, oh, that's going to affect the children. I go to the military and get killed, and nobody says that's how it's going to affect the children with no man at home, huh? As long as I'm doing it, there's something wrong with it. If they doing it for their system, it'd be all right. He gave us life for his country. And so consequently, and when you start asking questions, I've been asking questions, I didn't get no good answers. I'm wondering, I'm still alive. The stuff I see now, my mother was alive. She called the police on me. You know? Listen, my mother, we didn't know where our daddy was, and I was glad. I mean, I was. So anyway, she worked hard. The second week in January, she get an extra job to buy Christmas stuff, you know, and put it away and hide it or put on layaway. They charge extra for layaway, extra for the installment plan, and storage. And she give it to us. And to this day, something about Christmas, I just, but she told me a white man brought it for us. She said, God, get no more ignorant than that. That was my mama, not the Klan.
My
mama.
God. Okay, so
I would hear my mother and her sister talk about good hair. So and so got good hair. I said, well, Sears and Roebuck make your hair. They might make good or bad, but when the universal God make your hair, there's no such thing as God making something bad. Okay.
Amen.
That's what I grew up with. I grew up with a mother telling me that when you see that white cop out there, just behave. If he stop you and pull you over, we wasn't driving then, just pull you over, behave, and don't talk too fast. Anytime a mother, I came through your belly and you teach me to respect filth, that's a violation of God. And as a child coming from a mother, I think I did something wrong. Now, how do you get it? You think white parents teach them? When you see this black cop behave, why? Because how many days have you ever picked up the newspaper or the radio or TV and saw white families month after month crying because this black officers shot her husband in the back, her son in the back 40 times, and then put a gun on him? It's made like none. Why? Why? Black cops more spiritual? Better no, they know white folks ain't going to tolerate it. And I tell you one thing, we black men won't tolerate. You can shoot my mama, chokehold my daughter, but you better not take your nightstick and hit my automobile. And you as a woman who's bright and do shows like this here, how many times have you heard a brother at a party or dance or your own brother say this white cop hit my car? And so the subconscious, not racism or white supremacy, have taught black men, including me, that black women are ugly. Have taught black women that they're ugly. Now, they'll debate that all that, but a black woman in America is the only woman on the planet that go to a place called a beauty parlor. All over the world, it's called hair salons. I go to the dentist because I think something's wrong with my tooth. I go to the eye doctor, I think something's wrong with my eye. Why would I go to a beauty parlor if I'm not convinced in my subconscious now there's something wrong with the way I look? And so all of that. And the reason we go through what we go through is because we're the only group of people that went through all the trauma and the evilness and rapes and cut the baby out your belly, castrate men and all that. And we opted for education over liberation. Okay, how much money, how many degrees you got? God has nothing to do with education. You was born with all of that, huh? But when I look around and I'm born liberated and then something happens to me, and do you think George Washington was beating up the British because he wanted the right to open up a college? Did the song say, give me education, give me liberty, or give me that? That we don't have.
So how do we get it?
You can't get it overnight. You got to go in and backtrack everything that's down there.
But you were there with Martin. You were there during
Martin didn't have it.
Martin didn't have it.
No, what were they saying?
We shall overcome.
What?
What?
That's the next word.
Someday.
Okay, when them white folks said, wait a minute, it sounds like they're talking about now. That's when they moved on us.
That's when he moved on.
So, look, if you ran a financial company, I come to borrow some money and say I'll pay you back someday, would you give it to me?
No, okay. I hear you. I hear you. But you were instrumental in the freedom rides and funding a lot of this and giving people food and giving people insight. And that was 40 years ago. And we're going through the same thing.
Well, listen,
what's got to change?
No, it's not going through the same thing. Listen. I'm 82 years old, right? When I was born, they was changing a black person's dollar for 32 cents, okay? Now they're giving me 98 cents, and I'm saying I don't want 98 cents change for a dollar. I'm going to get a full dollar's change for a dollar. This cash register will never ring again. The difference between the civil rights movement and now, there's been a mind change, huh? A mind change. I had someone call me up and said, what do you think about these black rappers and the B and the Ho and all that? I said, whoa, you can't talk to me. I came up a Christian. I read the Christian Bible, and there was a guy in there named King David. And he looked across and saw this woman sent for and had her and got her pregnant. And then her husband was at the front line fighting the battle. They brought him home so could blame it on him. And when he didn't pleasure her because his men was in the struggle, he killed him. I read that in the Bible, not Hustler magazine, okay? In the Bible, not Hustler magazine, okay? And so when you sit and you think about what people are saying, the black woman's a problem, ain't no black man at home. We ain't home when we home. What is it about? Hitler had a mother and father at home. You can't have no more family values than the mafia. And look how they turned out, huh? This is a game. This is a game they play, and the reason they can play it so hard with us, they know who we are. We took on the mightiest nation in the history of the planet and won, huh? With no guns, huh? No bullets, no knives, no nothing. They know who we are. When Napoleon went to Haiti and got beat up, had the greatest army at that time, and then the French didn't make the mistake we make. He said, what happened? No, we're going to send you home. We're going to send the scientists in there. And they sent the scientists in. And the scientists came back with their report. They said, here it is, voodoo. What is voodoo? Voodoo is a French word. It means spiritual atom. You can't see neither one of them. And then they twisted it so we would come back and believe it was something negative, huh? Uncle Tom is a shapeshifter. That's what got him scared. A tomboy is a tough girl. A tomcat is a tough cat. But when it comes to me, they reduce it down to something negative, and I buy into it. I buy into it. Something ain't right about that. And so when we sit and think about, say, well, look what the Jews would. No, the Jews wasn't coming out. So it's 5,000 years since the Jews came out of slavery. Hey, well, how come the black athletes don't pool their money together? What kind of foolish use? Ain't nothing but athletes. They've been doing that since they was 5 years old. You've never heard real business people go to athletes, huh? When people try to make believe it was, I was an entertainer, and I was, no. When I walked up on that stage, I went up there to get laughs. When I went down to Mississippi and dealt with them in Chicago, I was willing to die. Don't mix the two up. When America has won every war they've been in, and they didn't take athletes or entertainers, okay? At all. And so we keep mixing it up because we ain't going to do nothing. We're not going to do nothing at all. And so consequently, when I'm successful, why? Because I learned two things, and I didn't learn it at home. The strongest two forces in the history of America is the black woman and the black church. Those are the strongest two forces, and I understood that before I got married. And if you want to get me, you have to call who?
Your wife.
Okay, you hear me?
It's true.
When I moved to this rich white neighborhood in Massachusetts, I said to my wife, I said, you got to listen to this and trust me. I will never go to school to visit the children. I'll never go to none of their plays. I will never help them with none of their homework. I will never read a book to them. And she had tears, and I said, why? I said, I'll tell you later. 2 years later, she came and hugged me and said, God, how'd you know that? Know what? It took that long for them to recognize her as Billy and Gregory, the children's mother, instead of Dick Gregory's wife, okay?
Wow.
You hear me?
Wow.
And brilliant. I got 10 brilliant children, right? Because I never played the educational game. Go to school the same way you go to a movie. Go to enjoy yourself, and don't interfere with the people on each side of you. The rest of it you're born with. People say, you got 10 children out of college. That was easy with the money I make. I got them out the house. You got to be a genius to do that.
Oh, my gosh. I could talk to you literally all day long. I mean, it's... And this is what we talk about in the show, the wisdom of the elders, you know. And some of them. When you know who you are.
You didn't say that.
I just said it.
You said.
I said it. The wisdom of the elders. If you don't have wisdom, then I can't attribute that. But
yeah, well,
you
I'm
obviously
saying,
do.
But you can't say that when you're talking on the radio to people, because you might have my dumb mother if she was alive.
Oh no. Okay.
If my mother was alive today and walked in your studio, you think God spit her out. That's how precious and nice and peaceful and kind. But if you said that my mother, Jesus Christ, wasn't a Christian, she'd stomp everybody in that office to death, because she didn't know that Christianity never happened until 300 years after Jesus was dead. She didn't even know that King James was king of England. She didn't know that King James was such a weird, strange homosexual. He hated women so bad he killed his mama and his lovers, Lord Buckingham, who Buckingham Palace named after.
Oh, my God.
See how it works? And that's what raised me, That's what raised me, She told me one day, I said something to her, she ran down, honor your mother and father. I went and got that Bible she had in the room with 6 of us, and I told her, I found the point and said, I rubbed that out, I scratched that out, I said, if you're honorable. And so where we going now
Yes.
is... it might be too late to change it, because the people...
No, it can't be too late.
Okay, I'm sure the Romans said that when they saw it burning,
Okay, all right.
The good thing about a firefighter, they get there and they said, oh, no, it's too late to knock it down. Only people who not willing to lay down a life to change something takes the cheap way out, and they don't know they're doing it. I never put my family over the movement. Why? Because civil rights don't start in my house. It's out here in the street. And me and my wife went to jail, and we never talked evilness around that. And I got sweet children. They don't know nothing about, but they ask questions. I got a granddaughter call me and said, Granddad, I need to ask you something. And I said, Grandma, my mother said to me, she said, I want y'all to say please and thanks and yes, sir, and no, sir. And she said, I'm going to call Granddad first. And I said, tell her, I said, she's a fool. Don't nobody say thanks but poor folks. And tell your mother. And I got 13 grand. 8 of them is indigo children. And those of y'all listening that don't know what an indigo child is, you better look up it quick. They born with IQs of 200. They travel to other planets at the end of the night. Now, again, you believe anything you want. When you get the real stuff and find it out, you see who they are, okay? So she says to me, Granddad, I need to talk to you about my mother, which is your daughter. Okay, what you want? She want me and my brothers to say thank you and please and yes sir, no, I say, no, tell her, no, let's say that, but fools. Tell her the rich folks, Queen Elizabeth, you ain't never seen her say thanks. Say, tell your mother to read the Bible, read the Old Testament, New, but Jesus never told you to say thanks. He never said thanks. And God, what did he say? Humble yourself. That's what he said. Humble yourself, not thanks. And so all of this here, and the little children is beginning to see to it. I had a grandson of mine, I guess it was last year. I said, Granddad, is it true that God sent Jesus here to die for our sins? I said, that's what they say. She said, well, how come he didn't send the devil? If he killed the devil, it would have been over. That's what this child is saying.
Brilliant.
They killed the devil since they weren't trained that the devil's responsible for all our negativity. Then I want to know, well, why is God so good to the devil? I ain't never seen a fat devil. I ain't never heard of a devil dying from a stroke, a heart attack. I ain't never seen a devil with a dirty outfit. And in a Christian society, the number one costume that's sold on Halloween is devil costume. You cannot name a school after the Jesus, but you can name it after the devil. The Duke Red Devils, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, huh? Come on now. It's just a group coming behind us is not going to tolerate none of that.
So it's on fire and it's out of control and it's not going to be put out.
Well, here's how I describe that. Being 82 when I was a little boy, they had forest fires in certain parts of the country. And you hear the governor go to a press conference and said, if we don't get a shift in the wind, we can't save it. Have you ever heard of a state burning down? Have you?
No.
Then mean we got a shift in the wind, right?
Absolutely.
Out of all the people you know and all the people you ever interviewed somebody who can call a shift in the wind?
Mm-mm.
Nothing but the universal God. And I dare you to project what that God's going to do, okay?
Well, we all need to band together and pray on that. Mr. Dick Gregory, please stay in the struggle with us. I don't want to give up, and I don't want to think
no,
that
got
this
nothing
is
to do with giving. If you got $30 in your pocket, stay out the Rolls Royce store, okay?
Okay, I got you.
All right?
Yes.
That ain't got nothing to do with the believe. As this here, the Vatican has bodyguards, okay? You hear me?
Okay.
I wouldn't need a bodyguard if the universal God that created me can't protect me. We got church folk with a gun and a Bible in the same house. That's okay with the church, but the universal God said, you just violated me. So you think you can handle it by yourself. That's what it's about. And when you call Leo, and I can tell you some real stuff that went on in Missouri.
We got a lot to catch up with. Dick Gregory, y'all, 866-801-8255 is the number. I'm definitely going to call you offline. We got a lot to talk about, Martin, and a whole lot of other stuff. Thank you so much for giving some time to us today to just share some of your thoughts. I just so appreciate you.
Thank you much, and thank you for your show.
Oh, thank you.
And just call Leo quick. We do this real quick.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back. Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.